Good evening and welcome to this session on making India a dominant player in global supply chains. Uh, if you look at the last 2 or 3 years, I think one thing would become very clear that the pace of disruptions and the nature of disruptions to supply chains across industries has increased significantly. If you look at this started before the pandemic, when two of the largest uh, economies of the world, US and China, and the geopolitical tensions that where there a lot of rethink around where you locate your supply chains and what actions need to be taken started emerging from that. The pandemic followed, which really disrupted supply chains in a very, very fundamental way and really brought to the fore the importance of resilience because up until that point, supply chains were really built as a global interconnected flow of goods and information with efficiency as one of the core principles. And the pandemic really brought to the fore the importance of building resilience. Subsequent to that, we saw multiple different sets of events and shocks, including the semiconductor crisis, which impacted multiple industries. We have a war going on in Europe, which has significantly impacted the supply chains for food and agricultural products. We have cyber threats. We have climate-related events, which are sort of disrupting various parts of different supply chains. So, according to a McKinsey research, we found that various companies are reporting almost a month plus disruptions now every 3.5 years. And if you translate that into what does it mean from a profitability perspective, it's really almost half of a year's profits which can get wiped out over a decade. And that's substantial. That's almost equal to all the productivity and improvement that the company would have done over a long period of time. So that's really the first point, that the pace and nature of disruptions is significantly increasing, and that leads to a second point, which is about the fact that resilience, therefore, is becoming a very important theme, and companies many companies and executives are fundamentally looking at ways to diversify risk, de-risk, and build resilience into their supply chains. If you look at the global trade, again, according to a research that we've done, we estimate that almost about up to $4.6 trillion worth of trade would fundamentally shift countries over the next 4 or 5 years. And that opens up a lot of opportunities. Some of the key sectors include auto, electronics, chemicals, medical devices, telecom equipment, and so on and so forth. More than 93% of the executives we surveyed said that they are looking at improving resilience. Almost 70% said that they're fundamentally going to change their sourcing strategies over the next few years. And that really brings me to the third point, that what does it mean for India, right? I think we all have heard the fact that companies are looking at a China plus one strategy and diversifying risk. India is one of the big destinations they are looking at to make these shifts happen. As a country, we are also taking a lot of initiatives to capture some of these opportunities, including the fact that we have a production link incentive scheme to attract manufacturing. We have a national logistics policy, which is aiming at improving our competitiveness over the next few years to global standards. There are FTAs on the horizon with various countries and blocks. And from an ease of doing business perspective, we are taking multiple initiatives to ensure that businesses thrive and scale up quickly in the country. So, and by one estimate, almost more than $1 trillion worth of this opportunity can come to India in a big way over the next few years. So that's really the context and the opportunity that we have as we look at making India a dominant player in supply chains. To discuss this, I have with me Abhijeet and Shivi, and let's start. Abhijeet, from your perspective, what are some of the key sectors and key opportunities that you see from an India perspective, where India can really become a big player in the global supply chains?
So when you're asking from my perspective, then necessarily we all referring here is ease of doing business. From my glasses, how does it look like? At least a brief overview of economy is required here, because our economy is changing, one of the not only fastest growing economy, but it's also fastest changing in economy. How you used to book my and Shiv's generations, where our parents, they used to book tickets in a different way. Today we book, I think, our tickets ourselves. There is no travel agent involved into it. So it's not only, I think, even a generation, 10 years. In next 10 years, what is going to happen, we have to look at it. And that's the place where we will also have to learn from how economy has grown and reached to this time. So looking from the beginning, 1947, particularly when we were an agricultural based economy. So what is ease of doing business that time? कि अंग्रेज चले गए और उन्होंने आपको लगान लेना छोड़ दिया. वो बहुत बड़ा ease of doing business उस वक्त. But from agricultural economy, we very soon grown to a product and manufacturing related economy. The moment we started manufacturing our goods and we had capability to start developing things which we were developing to an extent, and to an extent we were importing also. So the manufacturing made India's economy enter into the product phase. But we did not remain with them. At that time, someone whose father is not a farmer, but he's working into a factory, used to be relatively advanced person, advanced generation. Very soon, the product become obsolete. And they started looking at it that India is now entering into the technology era, technology phase. So now if my generation, if I look at my grandfather generation, so they might have couple of people worked into the factories. But in my generation, my son who is seeing me and then he will have to decide his own path, he will be more than happy to work in a tech company rather than working into a product company. So from technology point of view, from the product point of view, first, ease of doing business was licensing. So अभी भी बहुत सारा नॉइज हमें सुनने को मिलता है कि फैक्ट्री लगाने में ये प्रॉब्लम होती है, वो प्रॉब्लम होती है. कुछ नया बिजनेस शुरू करने जाते हैं, उसमें 20, 22, 25 फॉर्म भरने पड़ते हैं. But this generation does not need that sort of ease of doing. The generation of production and technology has gone beyond. And we have now entered into an advanced phase of technology where the ecosystem delivery is becoming our strength slowly. So if I have to define what ecosystem delivery I am referring, then Delhi is a very good example. Somebody comes in and says Delhi used to be like this in terms of traffic, congestion, AQI, and I would be able to bring a disruption in this segment and make Delhi's transport and traffic as equivalent and as smooth as Dubai, but I will cost 120 crore rupees per year. And you see, this is happening now. Somebody is coming saying, I will manage your airport, I will manage your railway station, I will manage your Aadhaar card, I will manage your admission, I will manage your data, and I'll let you know that how soon and what benefit you can create out of it. So that ecosystem delivery is not only going to be limited. You have asked me opportunity, so I have brought you from this place to this. The opportunity is India is sitting on that position where if you are saying that I have managed something at this scale and level, दो example और आपको दे देता हूँ. किसी छोटी कंट्री में जितने टेलीकॉम के टावर नहीं होंगे, उससे ज्यादा हमारे यहाँ एक समय में खराब रहते हैं. And why we don't lose signal? Because periodically they are also doing a planning to repair them, and they are sending their team. So they have an understanding that okay, out of 4,000 towers, 400 are going to be down. So 400 are under repair at all stage of time. So that's the strength which we are creating. That's the number of vehicle, number of people. Earlier we only used to say कि हम बहुत, we are highly populated, so we are only managing people. But right now we are managing trains, right now we are managing drones, right now we are managing mobile phones, signal towers, a lot of data and in different quantum and strength is being managed in India, that the ecosystem delivery, when we are learning this, going to sell it as a product to some other country, that country is not going to question us that whether you will be able to manage it or not. But there is a problem. Someone who is selling something to somebody, any country, any part of the globe, have to be good at it. We cannot say that we are a very good country in terms of environment, climate, and we have 5 of the most polluted cities in our country. We cannot say we have a lot of solutions related to water related management or water treatment, and we cannot clean our Yamuna or we cannot clean our Ganga. We have to set up remarkable examples of success. Then only we'll be able to give something. And if you look at sectors which are having remarkable examples at that stage of time, they are the potential sector from where we should pick up. The good part and the best part, that the skill part, when we become a skilled management and technology oriented country, that part has created a very good framework across the globe. I've been to Dubai, I've been to all part of, very technically advanced countries. And when I try to meet that the best solution which they are using there, which country needs at this stage of time, I wish to meet their team. I'll at least find 1 or 2 Indians in that country. Dubai aside, Dubai RTA is having majority of Indians. They have 80% Indians working with them, and they wonderfully manage their traffic. And that 80%, 2%, 20% people from other countries, if you look at it in India, we have that capability of skill and management and problem solving attitude, learning from languages, coding, electronic and software development. These all are our strength. But they do not apply to a certain sector, they apply to all. It only depends that how we are creating the success story and examples. So this is my intake. I will not take much time. Then probably we'll get some more time to talk about it.
Sure. Thanks. I think so. Ecosystem delivery and technology, I think, are key themes that you touched upon. Shivi, what's your perspective from a startup and consumer space? What are some of the opportunities that you are seeing?
Hi, everyone. So I think from supply chain perspective, we need to start building supply chain resilience in India for sure. I have been into eyewear sector for approximately 13 plus years. 98% of the world's eyewear is made in China. There are 3 districts that manufacture all the Ray-Ban, all the biggest eyewear which you have seen in the world. And what I have seen in last couple of years after COVID, India's domestic demand, which has come up, India's people are trying to put up factories, but there are 2 major challenges which we are facing. One is labor, which is skilled labor. That is a big hassle for especially our sector, because when we manufacture glasses, it's not 100% automated. So we need skilled labor if we want to manufacture glasses in affordable space. Second is infra. So infrastructure is not 100% available. We cannot put up bigger factories and then expect the cost of production going low and then meeting the domestic demand and then supplying outside India, and then the duties as well. So India's tax structure is so complicated that when you send anything, start exporting to other countries, it is not affordable for them. So that is why China has an edge. Especially I'm speaking about my sector because I've seen it very closely. We used to source close to 40 million glasses in India annually from China. And this is huge number. And this is going to be 1 billion glasses in volume soon. So that is where I think there is super potential if we can develop that expertise in house. Somewhere, obviously, government has to support, state bodies have to support. There would be losses initially. There would be a few production capacities which are not met. But I think there is a huge potential, and especially from startup perspective, if multiple sector businesses are keen to produce in India, make in India for Indians as well as export, I think there is a huge scope. I see that, but we need see these issues to be sorted. I think we have huge manpower across India, but it is not skilled. It is not trained, so that is where we lack most of the time.
Before you take the next round, I can add something to his what he said is required skilled manpower, and whenever it comes to government to support, what context and in-text of support is being provided here at this stage of time, and where we wish to take this support is something which I would like to, if you allow.
Sure. Please go ahead.
So where we have gone wrong, that's the point where you start. Something which is irritating people, a product or a service or an ecosystem delivery which can be delivered, but it is not delivering there, and a startup takes birth. They make things simple, easy, and fit to pocket. People start buying it, right? But when you do this, you do not know what you are creating. You might be using a couple of technologies which has never been used into that particular sector. But you also be using some of the people who would be not properly trained to do that. So how do we standardize? And that's the normal notion of government's problem, to give more and more ease of doing business to it. But before I come to one startup, we as an ecosystem, as a country, we wish to understand that where we have gone wrong. I came out from a conference discussing autonomous vehicle who would not hit each other, they would not have drivers. And the moment you came out from that conference, some car hit you. You go to police station to complain about that car, the loss or the injury that made, and police said, हम track नहीं कर सकते. इसकी गाड़ी कौन सा नंबर, आपके पास नंबर है, पता नहीं कहाँ का होगा. So the distance between what you have spoken just now in a conference and the reality which hits you there on the road is the debate which happens with the technology. Now, the lowest and closest possible upgradation of that technology is, if I'm complaining about a car, we should have a good accountable resource to look at the incident which has happened, by a camera not there on the incident place, then at least on the way where that car had took an exit. Once it is verified that, okay, what complaint I am making, and that has happened on that spot, number can be matched, we should have a technology in place to find out that person. This is one example I've given you. Other n number of example into n number of sectors, you keep on watching on your mobile phone, on your reels. Somebody died and they are not getting a ambulance mortuary vehicle. They have to put their children on their shoulder and they have to go. It gives a lot of pain and trouble for somebody who can actually offer this, but there is no accountability. Someday some journalist gets up and goes into a primary school, puts his mic into a teacher and says, "Ma'am, आप बताओ आपके देश के ये कौन है और इस position पे कौन है?" She would not be able to utter a word. And we will not be able to justify that the crores and crores of rupees which government is spending on health or education or any of the philanthropic or welfare department, what is happening into that education. So India has now reached into that phase where the generation has become very, very impatient. They do not want such type of mismatches to be visible. And if some such mismatches are visible, then people start trolling, they start, saying n number of things to people who have no answers. What are the answers? Answers are technologies to be used in a way, in those combinations, which does not have a policy. So your problem or any other sector is that policy is not changing on that speed. tomorrow I wish to use AI or ML or blockchain into healthcare sector, and I wish to give that project anyway is happening. I wish to give palm top or a device to our ASHA workers, who are the 65% population, only one single window clearance of health services in this country. And I wish to give them a palm top tablet where she can put up all those data, and that data can be used in a way. But in that conversation which she's doing with the village woman, in that conversation, AI has never been used before. Blockchain or algorithm of blockchain has never been used before. So there would not be any regulation related to it. There has to be a pilot, and then pilot has to decide how it is acting to it. The time which we spend into making that type of emerging technologies policy, that time is something which we need to reduce. If you do not reduce, same thing you can achieve into next 5 years, and same thing you can achieve into next 5 months also.
Absolutely. I think, and very, very, very relevant point as to how, I think, how do we upskill and how do we ensure that the human resource capital that we have is leveraged to the best extent in order to drive, I think, is one key priority. And I think multiple solutions around, greater vocational training, greater and closer industry and academic collaboration, use of technology to upskill people. I think all of these are imperatives for us to ensure that I think the immense advantage that we have with respect to the demographic dividend that we call is leveraged effectively. Abhijeet, I think just wanted to get your perspective also from a perspective of electric mobility and the fact that that's a big theme which is catching on, a space where supply chains are getting completely rebuilt and built in a new way from scratch. Correct. How do you see the role of India in sort of leading in that space and becoming a key player as part of the global perspective?
If I will start in reverse process, then tomorrow some country around India, if they wish to make from one city to another city an electric highway, they will come to India rather than going to China very soon. Because other than electricity, everything which we manufacture here is going to give them a complete ecosystem delivery. Battery, vehicle, cable, manpower, technology, network, devices, telematics, tracker, geospatial, each type of material which is required to create a very reliable electric highway between those. We are sitting on the electric highway for which I am into additional charge, Delhi, Jaipur and Delhi, Agra. And this is India's first electric highway. And that electric highway has a definition that if you shut down with your EV, then within 30 minutes, we reach to you. You do not have to give a call to us. So each station is capable and it is equipped with roadside assistance vehicle to cover 25 kilometer up and 25 kilometer down. If any vehicle shut down, we can reach out to them. And that if it is not happening, a vehicle which has crossed one of our station in front of us, the data from the battery management system of that vehicle is being pulled out through the FASTag technology and the receiver, and it is analyzed by the station within 3 seconds that how many kilometers more they will be able to go. If there is a problem, next station is informed. So if we are giving an confidence to people that in 30 minutes you can get pizza or not in Delhi, it is debatable. But on 500 kilometer, if you shut down with an EV, we will reach out to you. And two more problems which EV sector we are facing is we were not knowing what type of income we will create out of it. If I look at petrol pump, everybody knows that if I own a petrol pump, how much money we are going to make, at least from the frequency of the parallel neighboring petrol pumps. But if I own a charging station, how much I own, how much I earn, when do I reach on break-even utilization, that was mostly unknown. The first two station, which also station in Gurgaon only, is India's largest charging station in sector 52 and sector 86. They have altogether a capability to charge 1,500 cars in 24 hours. It is currently being used by Blue Smart, and they provide you round the clock services to charge your vehicle anytime, whenever you wish to charge your vehicle, your fleet wish to charge there. And this was not happening because we were not aware about how much money, what is the utilization. First time we managed to bring that the comparison between metro project, metro reaches to its break even into 8.5 years. We look at city petrol pump is 2.5 years, 24 to 28 months. If you look at charging station, it reaches to its break even into 36 to 40 months, which is a very good use case as of now. And the last but not least is, fortunately, unfortunately, sometimes I say this on public platform, sometimes I do not say this. In last 10 years, a charger utilization, a lot of chargers owned by government, procured by the government, installed by the government, operated by the government, and maybe in a way they may not be used more in next few years because vehicle will change, their connectors will have to be changed. They are procured into last 10 years, their utilization was only 3 to 5%. And the product which require a land, then a light, a manpower, and it's a real estate utility, its utilization is 3 to 5%, then the break even will be 45 to 50 years. And with this type of break even, it was very difficult for us to pose as a country that we'll be able to give you a solution which is competing at par with China. So each charger which we are using into National Highway project of EV has from day one its utilization compared to 3 to 5% national average. From day one, we have 30%. And with that 30%, the entire break even of that project reaches into 40 years. Sorry, 24 to 40 months. So that's the kind of confidence which these projects bring. And I'm glad that last month only, when we shown one of the prototype charging station who will replace petrol pump in next 5 years to our Honorable Minister of Road Transport and Highway, Gadkari ji, then he liked the project so much. The initial pilot was proposed only for 500, but now the expansion which we are looking at is 5,000 kilometer entire Bharatmala, not only Delhi, Jaipur and Delhi, Agra, but entire Bharatmala will be covered into that. And at what cost you'll be very, very surprised. I think whenever we'll get an opportunity to quote against China, we'll be one single-handed winner, 50 lakh rupees per kilometer. And I think audience will be, many of you must be knowing what is the cost of building 1 kilometer road is around 22.5 crore per kilometer. If it's a 6-lane road, access control, right and left. And 50 lakh rupees per kilometer, if you add to it, that road becomes an e-highway. That 50 lakh rupees per kilometer includes the cost of bus, car, charging station, network operations, and 30 kilometer up-down coverage of roadside assistance. At this stage, at this point of time, the production, when it increases, we'll be able to neck compete with China, that any country around India, if they believe, if they are not the indigenous production unit, then they will be dependent on other countries to convert their e-highways very soon. The kind of, price war going on with the oil and COP26 or COP27, each country is into that management process. So the last part of NHEV, which is very important for audience to know, is a petrol pump and the charging station was never compared. And this is important for you also, and all of you who are into entrepreneurship, is because of two reasons. Is that each and everything about a petrol pump, how you have to build it, because the design and the detailing of the petrol pump is already in the public domain. पाइप कितने एमएम की लगानी है, टैंक कितना नीचे होगा जमीन के, कितनी बड़ी हुड होगी, सब कुछ डिफाइंड है स्ट्रक्चर्ड बाय गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से पेट्रोल पंप का. बट इन चार्जिंग स्टेशन नोबडी न्यू एनीथिंग. How are we going to create it? How it is going to be, look like, or what are the minute structures? And without knowing these details, you will not get into the business. So first thing which we did is creating 2 charging stations and creating an pilot highway for that. Second, Nobody knew that what earning you're going to do. Already I answered that in comparison to petrol pump, now we are into 24 to 30 months break even, completely reaching to our maximum utilization. And third, but not least, who is going to fund you? This conference, another conference, whenever I meet somebody in a environment conference, they have thousand crores of rupees to fund an e-transition. But when you are going to set up one of the utility, even your own bank is not interested to read your proposal. So funding, what kind of circular economy, what you said that today we may not create sense. We may not, make sense on the Excel sheets of a banker, but tomorrow these highways are going to give you a lot of fuel saving, lot of carbon emission saving, and a lot of problems solved, because the comparison between diesel and petrol in terms of running every day can never happen. We will always be cheaper than them, no matter how much cost of total ownership we are putting up at the time of installation. So thank you. You got given me a chance to speak about it. Glad that I'm heading that project, and very soon you will be able to go by cab. Cab has already started. Bus is yet to start. Electric bus and electric cab, both to Jaipur and to Agra.
Fantastic. I think that's a great articulation of how India is pioneering innovative model, correct, in this very critical sector of the economy, and how it can actually be a space where we build competitive strength and be someone who can be very dominant across multiple countries with the model we are developing. Shivi, just any final thoughts in terms of what are some of the initiatives that you are seeing which are working, and any one or two key things that you feel as risks one should address going forward?
I think R&D is one of a very critical aspect while developing your manufacturing capabilities in India. So research and development across sectors is very critical to be developed in the same way, just like commercialization. So no need to be hurry to just commercialize and start selling rather than build capabilities to innovate, because otherwise your product or your capacities will overrun very soon, and you won't be innovative in any way to supply across the world. This is again which we have seen very closely. And the other thing is, I think the good part about India as of now, why EV is gaining momentum, because I think being India has been always a late adopter to technology or any other new domain of expertise. I think the generation has changed and we are now early adopters. So I think that is where we have seen a rush towards EV adoption. I think it has to go further, little bit more, and I think entrepreneurship adds to it. So if we are taking that step to build something new, I think it helps us, the community and everyone, to mentally prepare that we are the early adopters and we'll build something new for the world, rather than just copying everything, which has been the story for India for I think decades. That's from my side.
No, fantastic. No, thank you so much. I think if I have to just summarize, I think clearly there is immense opportunity across multiple sectors because of the global shifts towards diversifying risk and improving resilience. India is very well positioned. We're seeing innovative models in critical areas like electric mobility. Entrepreneurship is there. What we need is things around improving the focus on innovation, improving the focus on building our people capabilities in order to ensure that we are tapping our demographic dividend in the right manner. And I think we'll be well positioned to capture a lot of these opportunities as they emerge. So thank you so much, Abhijeet and Shivi, for this interesting conversation.